UNH, for everybody who's visiting. Welcome to the inaugural Agile Summit. I would like to begin by introducing myself. My name is Kwale Kwebu. I'm the guy who's been sending you emails. So hopefully you've seen lots of them. I take full responsibility for flooding your email box. We have a packed agenda today. To kick us off, I'd like to introduce our Associate Dean, Professor Neil Nyman.
Thanks, Kole. So I subscribe to the view that you're never too old to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And I've been spending the last couple of weeks thinking, Scrum Master. Right? When I graduated from college, that wasn't one of the options. I don't understand why, but I've been visualizing business cards. Neil Nyman, Scrum Master. What do you think? I think it has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? But what's up with all these sports analogies, you know, right? I mean, Lean has its black belts and Agile has Scrum, and every time I think about Scrum, of course, I think about rugby. Though I will say that I actually went to one rugby game in my lifetime, and so does that make me an expert? I don't know. But, you know, rugby, and I think about a Scrum, and I think about organized chaos. But when we think about Agile, it's organized, but it's not chaos. There's actually a process involved, and there's a method to the madness. And Agile is about unleashing the potential of everybody on your team, and it's about organizing a process that everybody contributes. And at the end, you wind up with a product that's far superior than what anybody imagined. So we're really proud and pleased to host the first Agile Summit. Hopefully next year we'll have a second one upstairs in the bigger room. And I'm really pleased to see members of the community here and our business community. In Fall College, we're all about experiential learning. And it's kind of interesting to think about why we're all here today. So our faculty is interspersed. I've seen a lot of them at the tables, and they have a profound interest in Agile. And we had spent a great deal of time trying to figure out how to integrate it into our curriculum in a meaningful way. And a couple of years ago, the faculty voted to create a new program. It's called Business and Practice, which is a series of 2-credit courses on various selected topics that are designed to enhance our existing curriculum. And the second course we ever developed was a course in Agile. And it was so popular, we've got a second course that we're going to be teaching this year in organizational agility. And what's really exciting is our students have embraced the Agile approach, and we've managed to integrate it into many of our courses. In fact, in our information systems business analytics option, all of our students do a consulting project, and many of them rely on the Agile methodology. And so we're really pleased to have all of you here today to participate in this process, this learning process for our students. And I'm hoping that all of you in the business community will take some time out during the course of the day. I'm seeing lots of our students, and just introduce yourself and shake your hand and talk to them about Agile and the career possibilities in Agile. Because while I like to joke about what am I going to do when I grow up, the reality is I sort of am all grown up. And it's probably too late for me to start a second career, though I still like this idea of Neil Nyman, Scrum Master. But we have a lot of budding young potential Scrum Masters here today, and they'd like to learn more about Agile and the opportunities that exist in the industry to employ the Agile process, but also each and every one of them at some point is going to be looking for employment opportunities. So it'd be nice if you shared with them what's going on in your companies and what kinds of opportunities and career paths that exist for students that are richly steeped in Agile. So I've just been told by Russ Miles, who's standing right over there, that I need to make a plug. So on each of the table is sort of a little sheet of paper that's talking about our engagement strategy here at Fall College. And there's lots of opportunities for people to engage in the college. We're looking for projects for our students to work on. We're looking for course ideas. We're even looking for instructors who can teach Agile or other relevant skills as part of our business and practice program. So feel free to take that with you. Feel free to think about getting more engaged and involved in the education of our Paul College students. And hopefully when you meet our students, you'll be so impressed that you'll want to give of yourself, your time, to help us jointly educate our students and provide them with some exciting and tremendous opportunities. Okay, so no event like this goes without a great deal of work from some very talented people, and you've already met the chair of the Decision Sciences Department, Kole Gwebu, who has been sort of the driving force behind this. And actually we were just joking this morning that Kole, I think you have a second career yourself in event planning, because I'm just amazed at the turnout that we have this morning. And Marianne Clark has sort of been with Kole every step of the way, and I saw Marianne earlier. Oh, there's Marianne. So thank you very much, Marianne. I also want to acknowledge some of our sponsors who have helped sort of put this on. The UNH Interoperability Lab, Agile Maine, Scrum.org, and of course the other faculty and staff here at Paul College. We're pleased that we have 9 different companies presenting today, and we're representing 4 different universities as part of our program. And Kole told me there's over 200 attendees, which I think is like totally awesome for our first Agile Summit. It's just incredible. So thank you very much for coming out and supporting our efforts. So today is a day of exploration, and if you've seen the program, you know we have different tracks. Agile in education, leading with Agile, and how to scale with Agile. So hopefully it'll be a day of learning for everybody and some exciting opportunities for our Paul College students. Okay, so you've probably listened to me long enough. But it's with great pleasure that we welcome home a UNH alumnus. So Don, did you ever think that you'd be coming back to UNH speaking to an audience about Agile? It's kind of incredible. So Don is a UNH alumnus, and I'd like to introduce Don Catino. He's co-founder and CEO of Digital Prospectors. He's helped grow and guide the company from the ground up. Don has been in the recruiting business for over 25 years and remains passionate about the industry by seeking new ways to create the best experiences for clients, consultants, and employees. Don plays optimist, evangelist, and visionary, and is tasked with challenging the company to constantly improve in order to translate its clients' needs, desires, and ideas into repeatable business processes that create long-term win-win relationships. In 2018, Digital Prospectors broke into the top 2% of all staffing companies in the United States, with revenues exceeding $50 million, and was recognized by Business New Hampshire magazine as the best company to work for in the state. That's very impressive, Don. Congratulations. And so let me welcome our keynote speaker. The title of his talk is Agility Saves the Underdog, and we're all underdogs. Don Catino.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Neil, for the nice introduction. Super excited to be your keynote speaker today and to share my story about how agility saves the underdog. If we could, it's another round of applause for our host here at Paul College for hosting this event. I also want to say thank you to all the track facilitators who are here today to help us deepen our knowledge about Agile and share with all of us how we might harness Agile's promise of accomplishing twice as much in half the time. So before we get started, though, I need to tell you guys about an affliction that I suffer from. I know, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer first thing in the morning, but you don't need to worry. It's not terminal, and it's not contagious. It's BRF. And if you don't know what that is, you might know it by its more technical term, bitchy resting face. For those of you who don't know, BRF is a facial expression. It unintentionally appears as if a person is angry. are annoyed or irritated, particularly when that person is not trying to express any emotion at all. So according to Wikipedia, Louis XIV had this. So do I. I've had it my whole life. And I can remember when I was a kid, my bus driver, Mrs. McLeod, she would yell at me, she would say, "Wipe that look off your face." And I just remember thinking how unfair that was, because this is my actual face. So at any rate, I'm telling you all this because I want you to know that I'm happy to be here. And even if my face says otherwise, it's not my fault, it's BRF. Okay, so if any of you are horrified by my BRF joke, my apologies, right? But in all honesty, I did it on purpose, right? To give you guys a feel for the kind of company we are and why our people like working with us. Recruiting is a sales job, and it has tons of rejection. And if you can't make fun of yourself or enjoy a little bit of humor along the way, you'll never survive, right? So if you didn't like the BRF joke, if that made you feel uncomfortable, you're entitled to your opinion, but you shouldn't work at Digital Prospectors. Right? On the other hand, if you liked it, you might be one of us. So Agile, right, is all about getting careful alignment, unity of purpose, clarity of goal to all come together. And by getting this kind of alignment at Digital Prospectors, we now know that we are the best company to work for, but only for those people who enjoy our customer-first culture and believe in what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? So this seems so simple, but it actually took us a really long time to figure this out. It's a big part of our success and really what I want to share with you guys today. So I know you're here to learn and deepen your knowledge about Agile, and I can't really help with that, but the track facilitators can. What I am is a regular guy. I'm an underdog who's failed more than I care to admit, but by unknowingly embracing some of Scrum's values, right? Focus, and courage, openness, commitment, respect. Right? What I've found is a lot of happiness in my personal and my business life, and that's really what my story is all about. And it starts right here at UNH. And I understand that I might not look a day over 48, but I'm actually 49. So that means that I arrived here 30 years ago as a freshman over on Stoke 8th, and I had a fantastic time. Potentially the very best 4.5 years of my life. So my hero has always been Ferris Bueller, right or wrong, and not just because he also has bitchy resting face, but because I think Ferris is the man. And I understand that he's only a character in a movie. And you hear a lot of business leaders who will say, you know, their role models are their other famous business leaders, or there's a great coach or an influential politician, a philanthropist, an inventor. Ferris, that's my guy, right? And I like Ferris because he was all about seize the day. He had courage, right? He was willing to put himself in a situation where he might fail in order to do something great, right? And that's really what I like about him. Right, so Ferris would say life moves pretty fast. And if you don't stop and take a look around once in a while, you can miss it. Right, so I had a lot of days here at UNH where I probably should have been doing other things. But I would wake up and think to myself, what would Ferris do? And I would frequently find myself doing that instead. And I'm not endorsing this behavior. What I'm trying to do is be really honest about some of my own epic poor decision making, to give you guys a perspective of how far this concept, Agile's concept of constant improvement, can take you. Right? So here's a little embarrassing story that I think you'll enjoy. Excuse me. All right, so in my sophomore year, I signed up for a class called Introduction to Logic. I was looking to boost my grades, and this sounded like just a ticket, right? It wasn't advanced logic or even regular logic, it was just intro to logic. So I show up on the first day, and I'm ready to learn, and then I get hijacked by Ferris Bueller for the rest of the semester. And again, I'm not endorsing this behavior, but I didn't attend another class until the final. And honestly, I had planned on studying for that final. But Ferris and his friends were having a party and I never quite got around to it. But no worries, right? It's introduction to logic, I'm a smart guy. I'm just gonna figure it out when I get there. Spoiler alert. It turns out on the introduction to logic test, there are no words. It's only symbols. And they're symbols that I had never seen before. So I'm freaking out, and I'm trying to regain composure, and I'm looking on the test, there's gotta be a key or a legend or something to help me out. I wound up getting a D in that class. So I've learned my lesson, I go home that summer, I work hard, I work out, I lose weight, and I mentally commit myself to doing my absolute best in my junior year, which included getting revenge in Introduction to Logic. All right, so I took it again, it's a 5th class. And once again, I show up that first day, and once again, Ferris strikes, and somehow at the end of that semester, I find myself unprepared for this final again, right? But this time, I knew about those symbols, right? I knew that I had to study. So I did, crammed, and by the day of that final, I was actually feeling pretty ready for this test, right? Until I actually went to the final, because there was nobody there, right? The place I went to on the first day wasn't the place where the final was. There was no note on the door. And I started to freak out again, right? So I run to a campus phone and I call the registrar's office to ask for help, and I explain that I have this final that's happening right now and I need to know where it is. And this really nice woman on the other end of the phone says, I'm sure it's where you've been having class all semester. Why don't you try that? It's not the answer I wanted to hear. So I said, and hypothetically, if a person hadn't been to class all semester, how would a person like that find their final? And there was this awkward pause. She said, sir, have you been to class at all this semester? And I just got this sinking feeling. I knew it was over. I never found the final. And the D that I was looking to replace got replaced with an F, right? In Introduction to Logic. Damn you, Ferris. All right, so with that backdrop, I'm sure you can imagine my surprise when I was approached about being the keynote speaker for this event. Me? I'm not sure you've got the right guy. I run a staffing company and we place Agile people all the time. We're not an Agile shop. And they said, and I'm going to quote, digital prospectors values a culture which supports, trusts, and nurtures your employees, along with a persistent emphasis in taking care of your customer in every phase of your operation. It is a great intersection with the very foundational elements and mindset of any company seeking to enjoy the benefits of agility. I was like, geez, when you say it like that, I'm in. Right, so this is my story about how agility saves the underdog. And do you know what the odds were that I would wind up founding a successful business? Yeah, me either, right? And it doesn't matter, because no one ever would have taken that bet. It was way too much of a long shot. I was clearly an underdog. And when I say that we're all underdogs, what I mean is that nobody ever grows up thinking to themselves, I'm going to be a recruiter. Or insert any other normal job title, right? We seem pre-programmed from an early age to think that we should all be a professional athlete, an astronaut, a movie star, some titan of business, or maybe just the next person to change the world, right? Our goals are lofty as young people, right? And they should be, right? But the odds are slim for any of us to actually achieve those lofty goals. And that's what makes us all underdogs. Right? But hopefully, what you gain from my story today is that we can all increase the odds of achieving the happiness and success that we want in our business and our personal lives by embracing this agile mindset. So the first critical component in my journey was that my parents made good on their word and they said goodbye financially. That's them on the rocket ship leaving. I'm pretty sure that they still love me, but financially, it was over. Right? So I was on my own, and I knew that I needed to start improving, and I needed to start improving fast. And so luckily, after graduation, I was able to score this amazing senior management consulting role with McKinsey. That's actually totally untrue. That's a complete fabrication. Thanks to Ferris Bueller and that F in Introduction to Logic, my first job out of school was at Circuit City, and I wasn't managing it, I was selling radios. But I had a few things in my corner. I had this agile mindset, or at least I had parts of it. I had the courage, first of all, to stop making excuses and own my failures 100%, right? And I enjoyed teamwork, and I respected the opinions of others, and I was open to any option to learn new things, right? Anything that might start improving my situation, even just a little bit, and even if it meant I might fail again, I was open to. And I had a positive attitude. I had this oversized desire to take advantage of everything this life has to offer. That's the Ferris in me. And I committed to find a way to earn the income that was going to help me support these goals. So I knew that I wanted to be in sales, and I was passionate about that, and I felt that I had a knack for it. What I needed to do was to find the right place for me. Right, so I went into this cycle of continuous career improvement, kind of like Agile's plan, do, check, act. Right? I had to plan. I got to find a better job. Right? And I had to do it. I had to actually go get that better job, and then I had to check. Is this a better job? And then act again, right? So I'm either going to stay there and work really hard and do a great job at that job, or I'm going to go back to the beginning and try to improve again. So I apply this, and I go from selling radios to selling mutual funds to commodities to credit cards, which honestly is a step backwards, to muffins, which is a long story and definitely another step backwards. But it's also a great time to acknowledge the fact that even in a cycle of continuous improvement, reality seldom lines up with a plan, right? And this is why Agile is so much better than waterfall, right? It's why waterfall's master planning, right, the straight line at the top, it doesn't work, or it clearly doesn't work as well, right? Success in life, it ultimately comes from being agile, right? It's about adapting your plan to your reality, right? And not giving up, right? So that's me down there in that little boat, selling muffins, adapting to my reality. Excuse me. So I apply that again and I find staffing. And in staffing, I feel like I finally found my space. I found something that I really enjoyed and that I could feel good about and that I had a knack for, right? And after 5 years of doing that, at the age of 28, I was making more money than I ever thought I would, so I did the next logical thing, and I quit. Right? And I started Digital Prospectors in 1999. This is Chris and I. Chris is my co-founder and also best friend since kindergarten, in front of the very first office that we had. And you know how you hear about founders of companies who have some grand vision or purpose for their company in the world? We were never really that deep. But what Chris and I had was a feeling that we could accomplish twice as much in half the time if we just worked for ourselves. Right? So we just wanted to have this nice little lifestyle business and try to have fun doing it. And that's exactly what we did for the first 14 years, right? It was great. And Digital Prospectors has always been a great company to work for, even back in our lifestyle days, right? We've always believed in work-life balance. We have always believed about paying above average. We have always believed in celebrating vigorously. We didn't have a 5-year plan. We didn't even know what mission, vision, values were. And it didn't matter. It didn't seem to matter because we were doing great. But we also knew that we had this dangerous situation. And in 2013, we felt like we kind of had this recipe for disaster. We had 70% of our business with just one customer. And we didn't have a plan for growth, and we didn't even have a real plan for our future. What we needed to be was bigger than any one customer, right? So if we lost it, the company would survive. And we wanted to try to build something that was bigger than the sum of its parts it would be here for as long as any of us needed it for our own careers or for the careers of our coworkers. Right? So we knew for sure that we needed to grow, and we thought we knew exactly how to do it. So we got cool, trendy offices. We loaded them up with sweet workstations. We got ergo everything. We hung all the feel-good stuff on our walls. We kept it fun. We celebrated vigorously. Right? We gave back. We team bonded. And we got free snacks. And it worked. Right? And it worked. We hired a ton of people. We racked up all these awards because we had built an environment that people really wanted to be in. And our customers, our clients, and our candidates, they were happy too. On the surface, things seemed to be going great. So by 2016, we had quadrupled our internal staff. Our revenue had close to doubled. We had greatly expanded our client base, and we had really meaningfully reduced our exposure at that largest client. But here's the thing. Right? Instead of Agile's promise of doing twice as much in half the time, we felt like it was costing us twice as much, taking twice as long, and we were only getting half the results that we set out to get. Right? So we were growing, but it was decimating our bottom line. And we honestly felt like we were swimming against a tide, and we didn't really understand, right? In Agile speak, we had no velocity. And we thought that we had really happy people. I mean, after all, we were winning all these awards about being a great place to work. Right? But in Agile, they talk about happiness being the feeling that employees have when they combine purpose, mastery, and autonomy in their jobs. Right? And if you use this lens to look at digital prospectors back in 2016, this is what we see. We felt like we had done a good job on the purpose. We believe in improving the lives of the people we serve by connecting opportunity and talent in meaningful ways. Right? We believe that all people should love their jobs. And this is the heart of why our jobs are so meaningful and impactful, right? In addition to the money that we can earn while doing them, on our best days, we are literally improving people's lives. And that's pretty awesome. And the thinking went, if we could accomplish this customer-first purpose, that our own goals of becoming a more stable company for our employees was naturally just going to follow along. We thought we had it all figured out. Right? But the problem was, not everybody was rowing in the same direction. Not everybody was even on board. Right? It turns out, some of our original people from before we decided to grow, they said that they were on board, but they actually quit and stayed. Right? Their words said that they wanted to be here, but their actions said something totally different. So we had these quit and stayers. Right? And then we hired all these new people. Right? And they came because they loved the compensation and the benefits and the contests and the bonuses and the workspaces and the time off and the parties and the snacks. Right? We have so many perks and benefits at Digital Prospectors, a lot of times we just lump them all together as snacks. Right? So we had people that were way into our snacks, but not so much the work that we were trying to do. Right? So we had these snackers. And then we also hired new employees who loved the idea of helping people improve their lives by helping them find meaningful work. But what they didn't understand, that agency recruiting is really hard. It's a sales job, and it has tons of rejection in order to succeed. And that made them sad. Right? We had a sense of this. Right? And finally though, when we looked further, right, and we looked at ourselves as managers, right, we found that we were responsible too. We were accidentally blocking the mastery and the autonomy. Right? We didn't get mastery because in our own efforts to speed things up, we started so many simultaneous things that nothing ever got done. Right? And we didn't get autonomy because we built so many rules and policies trying to rope in our quit and stayers, our snackers, and our sensitives, right? That employees felt like they couldn't do anything without coming to ask us what to do first, right? So as managers, we were accidental diminishers. Right, so the result was we didn't have genuinely happy team. We could always make them happy momentarily by boosting the snacks, right? But we would find that no matter how many snacks we offered, eventually people would become unhappy again, right? If they didn't really like the work and if they didn't believe in the purpose. And worse, our diminishing tendencies made our best performers feel like we didn't trust them, right? Like we were micromanaging them instead of giving them the autonomy that they deserved. And we knew that we needed to do something. So at the time, we weren't thinking about any of this Agile stuff, right? But we knew that we needed to take a really hard look at the team, including ourselves. So we had to ask ourselves, do we have the right people in the right seats, right? And in order to figure this out, we had to ask ourselves a series of questions. And it started with, do our people share our values? Right? We are lots of different people in our company. We have different backgrounds and different perspectives, and that's what makes our company unique and awesome, right? But it is our values that bond us together, right? That's what makes us one team, and that's what dictates how we treat each other and how we treat our customers. And any person not consistently demonstrating these values with their actions is automatically a wrong person, right? It doesn't matter what seat you put them into, that's a wrong person, and they would have to go. All right, next we had to ask, do our people get it? Do they understand why we're doing what we're doing? And then, do they want it, right? Do they enthusiastically want to be part of what we're up to? And then finally, do they have the capacity, right? Are they actually good at their jobs? Can they actually achieve the goals that we're trying to accomplish? All right, so what we discovered through this exercise is that when we committed to grow the company to escape that recipe for disaster back in 2013, we had started a competitive strategy of customer first. But we still had this lifestyle culture of me first. And as it turns out, when strategy and culture, when they're not lined up, you can't drive efficient growth. And you certainly can't do it twice as fast in half the time. Right, so we had work to do, and we had to say goodbye to some people that we liked, but who just didn't want to adapt our customer-first strategy or do the work that it required. And when we did that, amazing things happened. We were able to actually convert some of those sensitives and accidental diminishers by putting them in different seats, right? Putting them in seats that they liked better and that they were better at. The snackers, they had to go, right? We also adopted an Agile-like system, right, to start prioritizing all of our initiatives and undertake them in bite-sized chunks, right? And we started actually making steady gains in productivity because we actually started getting stuff done, right? And it was right around this time that we hit a tipping point, right? Those quit and stayers, right, who didn't originally believe in our purpose, when they saw the progress we were making as a company, right, and when they saw the individual that other people were having by getting on board, they bought into it. And when we finally had the right people in the right seats, we were able to do away with all those silly rules designed to control the people that didn't want to be there, right? And our team finally got the trust that they deserve and the autonomy that they needed to start telling us what they're up to instead of asking us what to do, right? And now they're empowered to go pursue that mastery in their jobs in their own way. Right, so with all of these changes, our velocity actually started to increase, right? We started to achieve the things that Agile talks about. We got that careful alignment, right? Our culture mapped to our strategy. We created unity of purpose, right? To improve the lives of those we serve by connecting opportunity and talent and doing that in a meaningful way. And we had clarity of goal. We need to do this to increase company stability and employee security. When we stopped trying to be all things to all people, right? When we stopped trying to make people like their jobs by giving them more snacks, this is what we finally realized, right? Digital prospectors is not for everybody, but it is the best place to work for those individuals who believe in what we're doing and why we're doing it. And like I said at the beginning, right, this took us a long time to figure out, but now that we have, it's made all the difference. Right? So this year we celebrated our 20th anniversary as a company. And our culture has shifted from the me first to a customer first. And that competitive strategy of growing a resilient company that was going to last for another 20 years is in full swing. I don't think that we're quite doing twice as much in half the time, but we are certainly making constant improvement all the time, right? And yet, we're still that underdog, right? And that's okay. It's okay to be an underdog. We may never be an industry titan, right? But what we've done is found happiness and success by creating a culture of like-minded people, right? Who believe in what we're doing and are passionate about making it better, right? So we may have come to embrace this agile mindset accidentally, but the one thing that's for sure is we went from swimming against the tide to riding this beautiful wave, and it feels pretty good. And that is my story about how agility saves the underdog. One more thing before I get down. To all of you students out there, do yourselves a favor. Go to class, get good grades. You should probably defriend Ferris, right? And maybe you guys are going to achieve that agility, or you will get that awesome job at McKinsey, or whatever your dream job happens to be, right? The point is, find your spot, right? Find a company that you believe in with work that you're passionate about, right? And that is going to make all of the difference. It is an incredible time to be entering the job market right now, because the world is looking for amazing people just like you guys. Good luck out there. That's my story.
One more thing. So, thank you, Don. That was a really terrific story. I'm sure the audience enjoyed it. And as a token of appreciation, thank you very much. All right, folks. Now we're going to get into the next session of the summit. So there's just one more thing I have to mention. As you can see, I have Steve Jobs' resemblance. I can tell that I look just like him, and he used to say one more thing, so I thought I'd say one more thing right here. So we're gonna move ahead with the next part of the schedule. As you came through, you probably noticed some helpers. That's the Information Systems Management Association, our student organization, and they're going to be helping us move around this building, and they're going to be points of information at any part of this summit. Hopefully you've looked at the packets you received. Let me just grab one of those and explain what we have. So there's a program that's in here. Take a look at it. Take a look at the sessions that you'd like to attend. We've arranged the summit into 3 different sessions, as Jill Nyman has indicated: an education track, a scaling agile track, and an agile leadership track. The sessions are going to be held in a building that's adjacent to this one, so we're going to have to make our way to that building. Along the way, you're going to see student helpers, but just a quick little piece of information to help you get there. When we go out, we're going to go out through the back doors. We're going to turn right, and then we're going to walk up a flight of stairs. After you get to the top of stairs, and this is going to sound too much, but after you get to the top stairs, there's something very important that you'll see, and that's our dining hall. And in our dining hall, we'll have lunch at 1 p.m. And to get that lunch, there's a meal ticket in each of your folders. So you go to the dining hall, you'll present that meal ticket, and you'll have access to a variety of foods. So keep that meal ticket very safe. Then we'll go up, we'll turn right, and there'll be student helpers along the way, and they will help us transition to the MOB. And the MOB is on the other side of this building. And when we get there, they're going to be the different tracks set up in the rooms that you see reflected in your schedule. Right? So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to move out of there, go there, and at 1 o'clock, we're going to make our way to the MOB, to the Holloway Commons, and grab some food. And then we're going to come back for our final session and the closing keynote. Okay, so the students will help us move across the buildings, but we're going to be located in one place, and I promise you that's where we're going to spend much of the day so that you don't get lost. To help you, there's a map in your packet as well, and you'll see that. That map is for the building that we're going to go to, where we're going to spend most of the day. So that's it for now. We'll connect again at the end, at the closing keynote, but now we're going to make our way over to the MOB. Thank you for coming. One more thing, I apologize. One more thing, I promise this is it. One more thing. At the end of the summit, at the keynote, we are going to give each attendee a book written by our closing keynote. So please come, it's going to be fun.
That was really good. So we got
I would really love to work with you.
and they're not, but to this point, we've been enough years to keep them